Hi, welcome to Viruses Affecting the Nervous System. I put this together, I'm Heather Kreider, naturopath, to introduce you to a totally different concept of thinking about disease and our human relationship to that disease. This is a completely different lily pad, so you might we've been very much in one system for almost 100 years, and I'm very aware that this information is completely new. So just it's a lot of information, but I hope you like it. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the comments, and maybe we can create a dialogue around how we think about health and disease. So in this session, we're going to explore how specific viruses interact with the nervous system, the virus's neurological impact, and the strategies available to us to maintain healthy strategies outside of ourselves, but strategies inside the body as well. So as we know, viruses can play a significant role in neurological disease. Throughout this presentation, we will examine therapeutic modules that address these infections, looking at both the mechanisms of viral impact and the pathways toward resolution and healing. Most notably, we're going to be talking about homeopathy and nosodes. I understand that these are different type of vocabulary, so let me just get some base concepts out of the way. Homeopathy is a system of medicine. It's been around for hundreds of years. The elites used it. Rockefeller used it. The Queen of England used it. So it's well known. It's just been hidden. And it's based on the concept of like cures like and minimal dose. Minimal dose throws a lot of people off, but now that we're in the age of nanotechnology, people are starting to understand and accept homeopathy a little bit better. I would say that homeopathy is the original nanotech. And I know that's a lot to say, but the way that it's prepared is it's diluted and succussed. They found that they, being the researchers before us in the 1800s and early 1900s, and even now we're still doing research these days too, found that somehow or another when they did that, it was almost like creating a negative to a picture. So a negative, if you guys remember the old pictures, they would have the negative and then the photo. It almost holds the information for the photo to be replicated, but it is not a photo. So that I kind of think of it a little bit along those lines. So viruses affecting the nervous system, we use something called homeoprophylaxis, and that is using homeopathy as a preventative. Oftentimes, we use homeopathy as a preventative by using what we call nosodes. And a nosode is a homeopathic prepared infectious material. So we can use different materials such as whooping cough, diphtheria, mumps, measles, etc. So with this, we have a couple of more terms too. Materia medica is what we have recorded our knowledge about these different plants, minerals, and even animal substances and nosodes into a book, and then we can reference that as well. So this framework of this understanding of the pathogenesis of disease. So first we have to know how the disease moves, how it acts, homeopathic prevention and treatment, materia medica, and understanding that, and then the prognosis and case analysis. So the nervous system and infectious disease, we know neurological function is interconnected with sensory integration. We also know that intellectual discrimination and learning is tied to the immune system, and personality development and social adaptation is as well. So I'm sure you've heard that when someone gets angry, their immune system goes down for 8 hours. So that's basically thinking about emotions affecting the nervous system. But if we reverse that and we go upstream, how does the immune system then also in turn affect the emotions and thus, therefore, the personality? So these viral infections affecting neural tissue may influence both structural and psycho-emotional aspects of development. And in turn, if we don't allow those, then the question is, are we robbing the neurological system of that information in order to develop? So the nervous system and infectious disease are obviously very deeply interconnected. The immune system activity directly supports neurological and psycho-emotional functions. When viral infections target neural tissues, the consequences can be far-reaching, affecting not just physical health, but emotional and cognitive well-being as well. And I think we've all seen a change in our world recently, and I'm just questioning where this is coming from. So miasmatic classification, we also then want to understand miasmatic classification. And here's another word. We have a lot of these words in our world, but miasm is basically, it kind of derives directly from this idea of like emanations from a swamp. And what that means is whatever you've inherited, it's not necessarily the swamp, but it's sort of like the vapors have gotten into you. Some people have even called it a biofilm in the body or inheritance patterns, epigenetics. All of it is kind of one idea and concept together. So understanding miasmatic classification can help us to see how inherited patterns influence our susceptibility to neurological viral diseases. So these deep-seated tendencies shape how we respond to infection, and homeopathic nosodes, remember those are infectious diseases made into homeopathics, offer a way to modulate these inherited susceptibilities, opens pathways, and it creates a greater resilience. So your 5 miasmatic groups is the soric. We see septicemia, streptococcal infections, staphylococcal, rubella, diphtheria. We see in the psychosis, we see chickenpox, smallpox, whooping cough, and HPV. In the syphilitic, we see polio, measles, and rabies. The tubercular is meningitis-related processes. And in cancer, we see herpes viruses, EBV, and cytomegalovirus. Each group reflects a distinct pattern of disease expression from acute inflammatory responses to chronic degenerative processes. Recognizing these categories helps guide more targeted, therapeutic, and effective therapeutic approaches. With glyphosate and neuro-immune disruption, we have seen now that glyphosate represents a significant factor in neuro-immune disruption. This widely used herbicide influences key biological pathways contributing to core neurological impacts, including inflammation, oxidative stress, and compromised detoxification. Understanding this connection is essential for anyone working to protect nervous system health. With the detoxification and biome consciousness, our detox pathways must function properly to clear viral and environmental toxins, while the biome serves as a consciousness interface, connecting gut health to brain function. Restoring biome balance supports improved mind and nervous system balance and vitality expression. Now we're going to examine how viruses impact the nervous system at the mechanistic level. Multiple pathways exist through which viruses cause neurological damage, from direct infection of neural cells to immune-mediated inflammation. Understanding these mechanisms helps us appreciate both the vulnerability and the resilience of the nervous system. What we see is that exercise does help the detox pathways, because exercise also gets you to stretch typically, and it moves your lymphatic. And then if you're sweating as well, so you're moving your lymphatic, you're moving your blood, you're dumping it into your kidneys faster, your liver, and you're also removing it through the skin. So get your sweat on at least a little bit. And then the biome is the consciousness interface. So we've seen that there is a psychological patterning that is associated with the microbiome, and it influences neurological function. It is foundational to perception, cognition, and collective awareness. That is so huge. I'm going to say also that if you were an alien and you came to Earth and you could only see DNA, that if you looked at a human being with your DNA eyes, you would see about 100-to-1 bacterial DNA to human DNA. So we need bacteria to survive, to be alive, and clearly to be interconnected and to create a collectivism in our world, which is amazing. Okay. Now, with some of the illnesses such as diphtheria, Haemophilus influenza, whooping cough. So these certain diseases also carry a deeper symbolic and psychological significance. Diphtheria relates to stages of identity formation. Hib, or Haemophilus influenza, connects to vitality expression, and whooping cough reflects boundary integration within the nervous system. These interpretations offer additional insight into the healing process. Polio serves as a model neurological viral disease. Its characteristics include the potential for motor neuron damage and paralysis. Historically, maternal antibodies provided natural immunity to infants, and within homeoprophylaxis, nosodes are hypothesized to support the body's response to this viral challenge. So, homeopathic theory proposes that nosodes may regulate zonulin pathways. Zonulin is a protein in your gut. So each of your enterocytes, we call them enterocytes, but they're basically just your gut cells. And they sort of are all lined up like little lats in a fence. And they each are sort of buttoned together. So they have these snap attachments in a sense. And we call those tight junctions. One of the proteins that make that up is called zonulin. So we can test for zonulin to see if your boundaries are being broken. So that's pretty interesting. So examining polio and nervous system integrity more closely, we see that this disease fundamentally involves intestinal immune health. The connection between gut immunity and neurological function is critical, and the theme of fear and paralysis carries both physical and psychological dimensions. Moving on to rabies, this is definitely a neurobehavioral expression as well. Rabies presents a powerful example of neurobehavioral viral expression. As an RNA virus, it directly affects the brain function and intestinal regulation. Homeopathic remedies have historically been explored for managing the energetic imprint of this disease and supporting recovery. With rabies in the nervous system, we're looking deeper at rabies and its relationship with the nervous system and how we see this virus gain entry through peripheral pathways that then travels to the brain. The role of boundaries, both physical and energetic, is central to understanding rabies and its neurophysiological effects. Moving on to herpes, the herpes family of viruses poses unique challenges for the nervous system. These DNA viruses have the ability to remain latent within nerve cells and reactivate during periods of immune suppression. Their neurological effects can range from mild discomfort to significant complications affecting brain function. Viral infections and demyelation. So viral infections have been linked to the demyelinating processes, where the protective myelin sheath around nerves becomes damaged. This connection has important implications for neurodevelopmental outcomes, particularly in young and developing nervous systems. Viral factors play a significant role in neurodevelopment. The coordinated maturation of the immune and neural systems is essential for healthy development. When infection or immune suppression disrupts this process, developmental consequences can follow. So with the vaccination, we definitely want to maintain a fever response, avoid suppression of immune processes, and support the natural disease resolution. So discussing the neurological consequences of vaccination and viral exposure requires careful consideration. We want to understand the biological mechanisms involved, recognize individual susceptibility, and evaluate the evidence with an open and scientific mindset. Homeoprophylaxis offers strategic approaches for addressing neurological viral diseases. Homeopathic programs are designed with specific components and goals centered on the objective of restoring energetic immunity. When the disease resolution occurs naturally, the result is systemic health, and it goes far beyond just a simple protection. In conclusion, let's work together to apply these insights. We've explored deep connection between viruses in the nervous system, the role of inherited susceptibility, and the promising strategies available through homeoprophylaxis and holistic approaches to support neural health and resilience. If you have any questions, please put them in the discussion. I know this is completely new information, but someone has to start this conversation.